Well, hello there. How is everyone? That was quite funny. I was looking in the chat, and it said it's like waiting for Santa. Check this bad boy out. I am in fact Santa Claus. How is everyone? Is that music in the background too loud? Or shall we have it a bit louder? Let me know. Just get into the Christmas vibe. Because it is nearly Christmas. It is nearly Christmas. Hello. Hello, dope. Who we got in? If you see me looking over here, I've just realised how poorly I've got everything set up. Because I've got the chat screen like there, so I've got to kind of look through the mic, and which is awkward. I could move it up there, but then when I screen share, it then shows it on that screen, and I don't want it on that screen. Love the hat, Harsh. Yeah, I didn't know that you could get different colour Christmas hats. I didn't even know it. Hi, David. Hello, my friend. Who we got in? What mods have we got in? We've obviously got Dope. Hello, Dope. We've got Kristen. We've got the Evil CJ Show. Hello, my friend. How are you? I hope you're well. I see Baby Girl in the chat. No causing any trouble. Well, you know you're a little bit of a bugger. Only kidding. Who else have we got in? Superior Dreams is in the house. Have I said Kristen? We've got Kristen here. Dixie. Hello, Dixie. My May, hello My May, and we've got Aunt B. Well, I'm going back in chat, so to be fair, I might be completely wrong. They might have left. And we've got some gifted memberships. Thank you very much for the gifted memberships. Thank you very much. I still need to get over to you, Evil CJ, and gift some members. It come up the other day. I was watching a video and it said you was live. And I went to click on it, and then you weren't live. It said you'd streamed like an hour and a half ago, so I don't know what that was all about. But, yeah. So the music in the background, is that too loud? I think that's a bit of Jordan Sparks. Whoever fucking Jordan Sparks is, I haven't got a clue. The name rings a bell, but I haven't got a clue who it is. But, we'll see if we can get ourselves a copyright strike, shall we? No, only kidding. I pay so you can have some music. I've got the audio set up. I don't know whether the voice is working. That's probably out. Soggy Manchester, don't even talk to me about the weather. The weather's mental. The weather is mental. I can't remember the last time it didn't rain. Is the music too quiet? Let me know. Is it too quiet? Do you want it up a little bit? I can bring it up a fraction. I don't want it too low. I think the music level is just fine. Superior has said. I'm loving the black Santa hat. Yeah, like I say, I didn't even know you could get different colour hats. I thought I'll get a Santa hat and then it come up different coloured ones. And I was like, nice one. They actually did a blue one, and I thought I could get a blue one, but then I thought, actually, that might be a little bit too much blue. Do you have Christmas tunes? I do have Christmas tunes. They're playing in the background, mate. This is the Epidemic Sounds Christmas playlist. I forgot my password. Yeah, so we've got a Christmas playlist. I thought, rather than all that miserable music that we have in the background, I don't hear it. So I'll turn it up a little bit. I can turn it up a little bit. Look. Bit of Jordan Sparks. Up music, please. I've turned it up a little bit. We got a beautiful shout out from Andrew D. Myers and Laney Law. I do like Mr. Myers. He's a good lad. I do like him. Do like him a lot. I am going to do something, like I'll do something with you, CJ, and I'll do something with Andrew as well. It's just, it's been a bit hectic, because we were supposed to be moving, but, and we was obviously getting ready to move, and it all went It went all it went all wrong. You might look like a Smurf in blue, yeah. That's actually a really valid point. I may have actually looked like a Smurf. Ah, it's good to see everyone. Nice full house tonight. We have got a nice full house. We've got 333 people in the chat. All the frees. And we've got a lot. Harsh come to Vegas. If I went to Vegas, I'd never leave. I went to, I used to play poker years ago. I went to Mexico to play poker, and I ended up staying there a year. Yeah, that was a long bloody game, that was. Finally made it alive. Love the what? Oh, love the hat. I see my eyes are bad. I should wear glasses. But I broke my glasses to fix Mrs. Harsh's glasses, and I never replaced mine. So I can't actually see a lot. I can see it. Well, I've got one eye that's a bit weird. Like it makes everything look like at an angle, so the eye's constantly trying to readjust. Messed up. Welcome everyone coming in. Thanks for joining us tonight. Yes, thank you. We're going to be talking. Earth moving sucks, don't it? Just don't it? Just. Love your hat. Love your heart. Thank you very much, Sylvia. I've even got a coffee cup as well. Check this out. I've got a coffee cup. Harsh reality alert. And one of the pictures from earlier on. And Mrs. Harsh had that done. Didn't even know she was getting it done. Said about doing like lives and having a coffee, and she went and got a cup made. What a legend. Ho 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 Harsh. That's it. Ho ho ho. Stayed a year to play poker. Yes, that I did. Basically, the plan was to go and play some poker for a week, and it turned into a year. Thank you for bringing Christmas cheer to us. We need it, don't we? Do you know what I mean? We need a bit of it. It's been a bit of a miserable few years. You know, thinking back, didn't we? We had like, the year before last, we had the Summer Wells case and obviously Michael Vaughan. We was touching in on Harmony Montgomery. Some of you won't know who Harmony is. That's a devastating case. And don't get me wrong, there's many, do you know what I mean? There's too many to mention. Oakley Carlson was another one. And then we had, like I say, Summer Wells. Then we had Kylie Rodney. Then we've, obviously got this Idaho 4 case. And the sad thing is we can't talk about everyone. We can't talk about everyone. I appreciate that from a mental health perspective, not everybody can dedicate themselves to watch and follow every single case. And, we get people who, the trolls, they love it, don't they? They'll come in and they'll say, you're just going where, people, where the money is, where people want to watch. You're not interested in covering anything else. I'd cover everything. But the reality is people don't watch it. And as a content creator, if you keep putting videos out that nobody watches, then eventually that will kill the channel. That's horrible, but it's the way it is. Thank you very much, Dark Fairy, for the super chick. I see we've got some, the gifts from Evil CJ. Thank you so much, my friend. We've got Sister Moon Tarot with the super chat. Thank you for bringing Christmas cheer. Thank you, Dark Fairy, as well. Thank you very much with the slice of cherry pie. And we've also got Leslie there as well. Loves Harsh. We be your babies. You do indeed. And must I say that you're all looking amazing today. You must have had a good weekend. It's been a bit of a chilled weekend. I say chilled, literally a chilled weekend. It's been fucking freezing. And I disagree on almost every case, but I think outside the usual suspects and theories, yeah, we disagree a lot. But do you know what? This ain't about agreeing. What I try to do is just get people to not be so close-minded. I want people to, do you know what I mean? We just want people to be more open-minded, and that's what this live tonight is going to be about. It's going to be about seeing why we should be open-minded, because law enforcement don't always get it right. It's as simple as that. And there are things that, if you really look at the Idaho 4 case, for instance, that there are things that just don't sit right, just 100%. But that's what it is. I keep getting messages come up. I've had Sienna today. Sienna, bless her, she's been buying stuff. She's got her own place now. And so she's been buying loads of stuff this weekend and been building it. Bless her. UK Metalhead, evening, my friend. UK Metalhead, what part of the UK are you from? I'm obviously. That is you, Harsh. Thank you. You are the best. Thank you very much. You are all the best. We're all the best. This is a damn awesome community. But anyway, what we'll do before we touch on anything, we're just going to tap into a couple of these docs because we've got the Jeremy Albert Best, which is obviously now starting to pump their docs into the Idaho database. So if you've been following that case, do keep an eye on it if you're one who uses this database for the docs. They've obviously just had a request for discovery. This is the guy who has sadly murdered his partner, who was sadly pregnant with their child. Another Idaho nightmare. But yeah, this is just rarely to tell you all that you can now find the docs for that case in there if you are one for following all of that case. I can't watch a true crime documentary anymore without comparing it to the Idaho 4 case these days. Yeah, that is that ain't that a fact. I can't believe I've caught a live. Lucky girl I am. Love, Mrs. Harsh. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas. She's probably watching in the background, Mrs. Harsh. She is the boss. She is the boss. What do we got? What do we got? What else is there? We've obviously got the Majorjan Alan Kayla case as well, which is motoring through. It's interesting to see this, by the way, because if you look at the Majorjan Alan Kayla case, and if you don't know who this is the other Idaho guy who, because he'd gone to law enforcement and they hadn't been dealing with the fact that one of the older kids from the family who lived below him, I think, or above him, I think it was below him, was doing stuff that he wasn't happy with his daughters. He'd gone to law enforcement, they hadn't done anything, so he went in there and shot them all. Hideous, absolutely hideous, but we've spoke about it previously. Thank you so much, Lorna, for the super chat. Thank you for all your hard work, Harsh. Love your channel and this lovely community. Yes, it is an amazing community. And we've also got Rock Chalk as well. Here is some great eggnog. I've never had eggnog, believe it or not. People look at me and think I don't fucking believe that. But no, I've never had it. But yeah, so anyway, before I interrupted myself, so Majorjan Alan Kayla obviously murders 4 people, murders all the neighbours. And he waived his speedy trial rights back on the 27th of November, and they have already scheduled the trial. And they have scheduled the trial for March the 4th to the 15th, with a pre-trial conference on January the 29th. So literally, not even a month, and they have already scheduled the trial in that case. So it'll be interesting to see how long it takes them to schedule the case on Brian Kohberger, because you would think if they have got everything, if this is a strong case, and all of the people who are saying, oh, they've got so much more, they only put the bits that they needed to in the PCA, then technically you would think that they would be anxious to crack on and put this to bed, especially with the stuff in the background that they've got, like the acquisition of Phoenix and what have you, and the Phoenix University. You'd think that they would genuinely want to put this to bed, because as long as this goes on, it isn't gonna be good for them, is it? So it is in their interest to crack on and get on with it. So if they don't actually schedule this trial and this carries on, I think it further proves that that their case is weak. Still got people loving the hat. Thank you very much. And we've got Dope, who has reminded everyone to smash that like button. Yeah, I don't really ask that so much. We've got 580 people in and 271 people who have liked. So come on, crack on. Let's push that button. If you're looking forward to Christmas, hit the like button. If you're not, hit it anyway. And if you hate Harsh Reality as a channel, hit it twice. So, right, what are we doing? Right, anyway, we'll crack on. Let's just see. I don't think there's any more documents in the Brian Koberger case before we look at what we're actually here for tonight. The last one was obviously the DNA situation. What's that? I've gone past, didn't I? Gone past the bloody thing. Let's go back. Here we go. Yeah, the in-camera submission for the IgG information. Eggnog is good even without rum. I will get some eggnog. So before we meet again, I'll have some. We've got Owen Gordon, who has joined membership. Hello, my friend. Thank you very much for joining us. And we've got Mary M in the house. Hello, Mary M. I like that battle to see who is the first commenter, because it is literally you upload a video and there is like comments immediately, so you've got to be quick. And I think Mary M holds the record for the quickest commenter. We've obviously got the Chad Daybell stuff going on as well. That's all kicking off again. But this is what we look at. This is what we want to look at, right? Why do wrongful convictions happen? This is an interesting document. This is because as we read through this, it will ring a bell with some of the stuff that we're seeing in the Idaho 4 case. Snowball is better. I think I've had Snowball. That rings a bell. Thank you very much, Scarlett, for the super chat. Yeah, I think I've had a Snowball. It was a long time ago, but I think I had one. Thought I'd have some coffee as well. Coffee's a good thing to drink, isn't it? Bearing in mind it's 11 o'clock at night here. Can't even get a membership because I don't own a computer. Do not worry. Donating your time, being here, that is more than enough. All these little extra things, we don't ask for them over here. We don't push stuff like that. I appreciate some people, they do, and some of them have to, and this isn't an easy thing to do. Do you know what I mean? This ain't easy, and it does take up a lot of time. I wouldn't let Mr. Andrew D. Myers, I wouldn't let myself get eggnog at the grocery store today. Now you're making me regret it. Damn you. You should have got it, mate. Simple as that. You should have got it. I need to get involved. And for anybody who has not subscribed to the Law Officers of Andrew D. Myers, please head over there. Not now, because I'm more important. Andrew is a sexy man, but I am more important at the moment, for the next sort of hour at least. But and I'm Santa. Look, I'm a Santa in a cool hat. But anyway, I've kind of jumped in and butted into my own conversation again, haven't I? I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat as well. Again, if you're new, then I've got the chat down there and I've got chat up here. They don't even run together. I don't know. But anyway, why do wrongful convictions happen, right? By studying cases where individuals have been exonerated, we have been able to identify the main factors that contribute to wrongful convictions. At KWIP, which is the Corey Wise Innocence Project, we see these factors often in combination in the many applications that arrive in our mailbox from prisoners seeking our help. And this is the list here. Now, some of them are relevant, I feel, to the Idaho 4 case. Some of them not so much. But again, as we read through this, you're going to be like, aha. So, eyewitness misidentification, false confessions, police and prosecutorial misconduct, flawed forensic science, or flawed forensic evidence, and perjured testimony. So we've got eyewitness misidentification is one of the most common factors in cases of wrongful conviction. Nationally, 28% of all exonerations involve mistaken eyewitnesses' identification. And we've obviously got someone who's an eyewitness at the moment. I'm going to touch on something tomorrow in a video very, very briefly. I might touch on it in a bit today because I know that not everyone can watch these lives, not everyone catch them. So I do try and split them down the day after just to... I do miss Marshmallow. I'm going to start doing that though. I am going to start back over there and having a bit of a rant. Yeah, I do need to get involved. So what we've got here, 28%. So social science research demonstrates that human memory is highly imperfect and fragile. When people experience a stressful event, like a crime, they are much less able to make an accurate identification. Witnesses are even less accurate when they attempt to identify someone of another race. Thank you very much, Scarlett, for the super chat. I'm going to try. I'll go back. If I miss any of the super chats, I will go back. AR Hayes in the house as well. Do go check out AR Hayes if you haven't checked him out as well. He's got a very, very good grasp on what goes on the other side of the fence. Witnesses are even less when another race. Additionally, lineups and photo arrays can be suggestive and lead a witness to pick the wrong person. This can happen when the suspect is the only person in an array who closely matches the description of the defender. Police officers can also influence the process by how they interact with a witness during the identification procedure, which we have considered a possibility with respect of did he have bushy eyebrows and was he about 6'3"? Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. And was he driving a white Hyundai Elantra? Did you say you saw that sort of thing? Do you know what I mean? A police officer's comments, body language, and positive feedback can steer a witness towards a particular suspect and then inflate the witness's confidence in their identification. Despite study after study proving the unreliability of eyewitness identification, it is extremely persuasive evidence. When a crime victim points out to the defendant in the courtroom and says with certainty, "That is the person who did this to me," juries are unlikely to reject that testimony. And again, if you've got a situation like in the Brian Kohberger case, for instance, if you have someone who comes in, say if Dylan Mortensen came into that courtroom and they said, "Is this the man who you saw?" and she turns around and says, "Yes, I believe that's the man," that is going to play on the jury's mind. And it's got a case here, which is Kirk Bloodsworth of Maryland. Kirk Bloodsworth, a former Marine, was convicted of the 1984 rape and murder of a 9-year-old girl in Maryland. At the time of the trial, the case against Bloodworth seemed overwhelming, and the jury sentenced him to death. 5 eyewitnesses all testified they saw Bloodsworth with the victim around the time of her disappearance. 8 years later, DNA evidence proved that all 5 eyewitnesses were wrong. DNA testing of the victim's underwear and clothing showed that another man, Kimberly Shaw Ruffner, was the real perpetrator. So, overwhelming evidence. 5 eyewitnesses all got it wrong. And he was sentenced to death. Luckily, got out of it. Here we go with a false confessions. I'll go through the false confessions one, then we'll step back into the comments, grab some comments, then I'm going to come back out and go for a couple more of these. False confessions have been a factor in 12% of proven wrongful convictions. In fact, we'll skip this because I don't think this is relevant at the moment. So we will skip that one, but this is an important one. Lana Graham finally made a live, Sean. Thank you very much, Lana. That is very kind of you. And you have caught us. What do we got? Right, so police and prosecutorial misconduct. A big one. We've heard this, haven't we? We've basically heard Ann Taylor accuse them of this. This is a big thing that she brought up. So we've got official misconduct by police officers, prosecutors, or other government officials has been present in 54% of wrongful convictions across the nation. 54%. So more than half of wrongful convictions, there is official misconduct by police officers, prosecutors, or other government officials. That's a massive, massive figure. And someone like A.R. Hayes, by the way, going back to A.R. Hayes, he is someone who's likely to be able to confirm that and say that figure is probably likely very, very accurate. At least that's what they know about. Because criminal cases have many different stages, official misconduct can occur in numerous ways. At the investigation stage, police engage in misconduct when they deliberately use suggestion in an identification procedure, coerce a witness to implicate a suspect, fabricate physical evidence. I will say that again. Fabricate physical evidence. Or use improper interrogation techniques, Chris McDonough, sorry, Freudian slip, to secure a confession. At the trial stage, prosecutors corrupt the process when they conceal exculpatory evidence favourable to the defendant, or when they introduce false or perjured testimony. So here we go. So that is where you stand with police and prosecutorial misconduct. And like I say, I'm not a professional, do you know what I mean? I am not a professional at this at all. This is just my opinion. I look at things and see how I look at cases and what I think of all of the information. And I also look at what the other professionals, people like Mr. Myers, who we got in the chat, also Law other people who are coming out and speaking. I look at how the families are handling things. A.R. Hayes as well, someone who's been on the other side of it, who's obviously interacted with people who have potentially been wrongfully convicted. And A.R. Hayes says here, harsh, it does happen, but I also believe the investigation is difficult and can walk a fine line in every case. And we've touched on this before. It's almost like... It's the frustrating thing is law enforcement obviously have the other problem where they can know someone done something. They can flat out know, but because of the legal system and how things have to be done, they may know that this legal system isn't going to be able to provide them with the conclusion that they're looking for. And, it's not what you know, it's what can be proven in court and convince a jury. And they are not always hand in hand. So we've got this case here, which is Timothy Masters. In 1999, Timothy Masters was tried and convicted of a brutal murder that had taken place 12 years earlier. The female victim was stabbed in the back and worse. At trial, the prosecution's case rested heavily on the testimony of a psychologist, J. Reed Malloy, who examined writings and drawings created by Masters as a teenager. So again, we've got similar situations with respect of Brian Kohberger and things that are being pushed as things that he had potentially spoken about. This visual snow situation, which, if I remember rightly, we did sort of cover that. Created by Masters as a teenager following the death of his mother. The psychologist insisted that this material reflected a displaced anger towards women and directly implicated Masters in the crime. What Masters did not know at trial, because the prosecution concealed the evidence, is that police had consulted with two other experts who forcefully disagreed with Mr. Malloy's conclusions. Prosecutors also suppressed evidence about an alternate suspect who had a history of sexual deviancy, lived 100 yards from the murder scene, and committed suicide following his arrest for a separate sex crime. Unable to defend himself with his exculpatory evidence, Masters was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. He served 9 years in prison before he was exonerated. And again, you've got a situation in the Idaho 4 case, and I hate to bring it up again, but the Brent Kopacker situation. What if Brent Kopacker, whether people want to listen to it or not, he was going through something. And you could turn around and say, look, this was completely coincidental. And do you know what? Damn well could be. Of course it could. There are coincidences. And it could just be that Brent Kopacker was going through this and Brian Kohberger was doing this and they were nothing to do with one another. But this proves that law enforcement, there can be someone, this guy who was potentially the person who did it, has committed suicide, he's gone, and they hide it. So that's like saying, well, we know that Brent Kopak had done it, we've gone to him, it's escalated in a fashion that's led to his death, and they know, well, we know that he's not going to come back and say anything, he's not going to bite us in the arse because we've deleted him, he's gone, he's not a problem. So we can now focus on this guy, Brian Koberger, because we know he obviously hasn't got a witness either, and we know he was driving around on his own, so he's fucked as well. And look, I'm just spitballing. Like I say, I'm not a professional, and I could be wrong. Completely could be wrong. But look, can we turn around? Could anybody in the chat turn around and say what I've just said makes absolutely no sense? Couldn't happen, wouldn't happen, won't happen, don't happen, all of the don'ts and won'ts, and when you've just read that it does happen. There's cases where people have been exonerated and police have done it. They've hidden people. It's not a first time. They have lovely Christmas music going. So funny, yeah, talking about true crime and murder and stuff, and we've got Christmas music in the background. It kind of just balances it out. It's like a palate cleanser. Bit of a palate cleanser. Let's just have a look at this. Lana Graham, I did say thank you for the super chat. We've got Ida Serrano as well. Thank you. Keep doing a great job. Thank you so much. Scarlett as well. Jamie with a super sticker. Thank you very much, guys. And thank you to those who are coming in. Where are we? So we have a look. Right, so witness perjury. False accusation or perjury is the most common feature of wrongful convictions and have been a factor in 60% of documented exonerations. Most often, witnesses lie because they receive some benefit, Emma and Demetrius, for testifying against the defendant. For example, a person in jail facing criminal charges can secure a favourable plea bargain, dismissal of their own charges, special privileges in jail, or even money being offered, money by offering damning evidence against a fellow inmate. These benefits create a strong incentive to lie. In many wrongful convictions, defendants were not given key information related to the credibility of the incentivised witnesses who testified against them, including the exact benefits received, the witness's history of cooperating in other cases, and the witness's criminal history. And then we've got this here, which is just another case where that happened. But there you go. This is that, and we'll come back to a case in a bit. I'll get rid of that for now. So yeah, there you go. We've spoken about people there who, you know, this is a business that deals in these sort of cases. Getting people off who have indeed been wrongfully convicted. And these are all the things that were part of it. And they're all the things that, when you listen to the Idaho 4 case, can you genuinely say that, you know, that's not it? Let me just go back. If I go back to this quickly and just let us have a look at this together. And then I can pull the chat up to where I can actually see it, and then we'll go through chat. We'll do some Q&As in chat and have a chat with people in the chat for the last part of the live. So this is in the parent first, genetic genealogy aids a wrongful conviction case, and this is going to be the issue, isn't it? This is the problem that Brian Koberger's case has in terms of Brian Koberger being innocent. It's fine. It's ascertaining whether the DNA is genuine, and that's why a lot of the focus by the defense is on this information, because that is damning in a way that if that's his DNA and, you know, in a court and the jury's sitting there listening to, there was a sheaf left there and it had his DNA on it, that's gonna hurt the defense. It is gonna hurt the defense. The argument is, was it truly his DNA? Was it truly his DNA? Was that knife sheath put there by law enforcement, or did this person go into this property? Did Brian Koberger go in here and drop that knife sheath? But this is the Marshall Project. This one is a non-profit newsroom covering the US criminal justice system, and this is where this can be found on the Marshall Project site. And this is on Wednesday, an Idaho judge dismissed all charges against Christopher Tapp, who was wrongfully convicted in the 1996 rape and murder of 18-year-old Angie Dodge. I'm thankful I've been given this second chance at life, Tapp said during the hearing. According to the East Idaho News, I've wasted 20 years of my life. So that's just 20 years, this guy. We looked at one the other day, didn't we? It's very similar. So this is another person in Idaho who lost 20 years of their life through wrongful conviction. But this is going the other way, where it was the genetic genealogy system that actually got him off. I'm not going to read through it all, but if you search this guy up, Christopher Tapp, it does talk about the genetic genealogy and how that helped them build a tree that would eventually get him exonerated. So there are some benefits to it, but the downside is a tool like that can sadly, it cuts both ways. Sometimes it can be very, very good in a case, and sometimes it can be very, very bad. But I'm going to bring this chat up here so I can now see it. And let's go through the old, let's go through some chat, shall we? And if I bring this down here, then I can see properly. You pull that up. Then I ain't got to keep looking through there. So let's go through. So who have we got? What do we got? What do we got in chat? Now that looks like it's miles away. At least I can see. I'm not blind. He says he's not blind, but he's struggling to see. Let's move that there. That's a bit better. That's because that monitor's curved. I don't think I like curved monitors. Thought that was a good idea. It's turned out it's not a very good idea. What a bad one. Right. Some questions. Has anybody got any questions in chat? Let me just reset that. Let's get that back. Pull that down to the bottom. The knife, a sheath has no use unless strapped to your body. True. Yeah, I agree with that. It doesn't. It's a strange one, isn't it? It's I can't work it out. Do you think the sheath was ever in the house? See, I spoke about the sheath the other day, and what I can't fathom, what I can't understand is how this... What's the temperature here, Evil CJ? The temperature is currently, I think it's like -1. I think it's like -1. Is it? Yeah, -1. Cold. Yeah, the knife sheath, I just can't get it. I just can't. I can't work it out, because you'd think, like you say, you'd attach it to your belt. I can't work out why you take it into the house and freehand it, have it in your hand or have it in your... I just can't work that out. You're supposed to believe that this guy meticulously planned this crime. He drove over there an amount of times. And that one thing, like, carry it in your pocket. I just can't work it out. If he's done so much where he hasn't got any DNA evidence in his car, so he's obviously, like Steve Gonsalves has talked about this kill kit, but he's gone to the lengths of a kill kit that didn't include a belt that would hold the sheath. It just doesn't... Little things like that. Little things. Like, I'll give you another little thing, right? And this is with reference to Dylan Mortensen and her statements. I'm going to do a separate video, just a short one tomorrow, talking about this. And what I can't get my head round is Dylan Mortensen coming out of her room, apparently, and just sticking her head round and, like, looking or whatever. And that, to me, that's an odd thing. If you're hearing noises and you believe that it's someone playing with the dog, but it's a noise that is aggravating you because you can't sleep, and we've heard that she potentially shouted out, "Shut up," or whatever, why didn't she come out of the room, completely out of the room, and actually go upstairs and say something? Why did she not come up there and knock on the door? Or why was her actions like she was aware that someone was in the house? Do you know what I mean? It's hard to put it into words what I'm trying to get at. But what I'm trying to get at is to say that for someone to come out of a room or not come out of a room, but just stick a head around the corner, it's a weird one to me. Why is this such a big case in the UK, or is it just you? Also, we rarely, believe it or not, they were talking about this case, Andrew, at one of the schools in the UK, one of the secondary schools. They were talking about it. The reality is with crimes, you don't generally hear so much about crime in the UK. Our police system are very good at keeping stuff under wraps. And if anything was this big, you wouldn't hear anything about it. You just wouldn't. You know, it's not unless something is done very publicly and it gets leaked to the press that you would hear of anything. There are cases that will come into the news, like it will say, oh, someone was found deceased at the home and we're investigating it, and you will not hear anything more about it. It's an odd one. Our system over here is, there's a lot more that happens that we see and hear about. Piney Woods Law and only give me half of that. Let's have a look. Piney Woods Law and Crime. We've got, thought I'd become a member but can't seem to do it. My question is still the 2 survivors and bloody 8-hour delay. Love to the Harsh family. Thank you very much for the super chat, Piney Woods. And in terms of memberships, I have no fucking clue. I think there's some links that they're dropping in chat. Dope Soul has put the mobile membership link. Well, I don't even have. I don't even know how to find that. I don't know where it is. But yeah, I think you can click on that. I don't really do enough with the memberships and stuff. It is what it is. But we do have some members. What else we got? Yeah, so the knife sheath, in answer to your question, I can't work that out. And like I say, I can't work out the behaviour of Dylan Mortensen. It's not just about the delay, it's about the behaviour that they're trying to push in the PCA. I don't really get it. Because if I was, well, we've all been there, haven't we? We've all been there, and you're trying to get to sleep and people are making noise. There's going to come a point where you're going to fucking walk out the room. You're going to walk up the stairs and say you're taking the piss. I keep shouting, telling you to shut up, and you're not. Unless you think something is going on that you don't want to bump into, that you don't want to get involved in. I feel that Dylan must have known something, and I wish I didn't, because I keep getting threats and stuff about talking about her. So has Jules of all trades, because they copied us both in with one another. And this is one thing that I'm going to say to the people who fret, right? And I've thought long and hard about this response. The more you threaten me and tell me not to look into the likes of Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, the more I'm going to do it. And if it gets to the point where your threats get any worse, then I'm going to think, hold on a second, because you're not mentioning anybody else. You're not mentioning don't talk about this person or that person. It's just these two specifically. Then I'll sink some serious money into finding out exactly why I should shut up. I'll do 20 videos a day, and I'll put 20 private investigators onto it if I have to. And that's the truth. So keep your threats coming. Because eventually you're going to make me wonder why you're sending the threats. But there you go. AR Hayes thinks it's a stash house. Do you know what I mean? The thing is, you can't say it's not. You can't say it was. You can't say it's not. We all have our thoughts. We all have our thoughts and feelings. But that house had a lot going on. That house had a lot of stuff going on, and not all of the stories make a whole lot of sense. They don't make a lot of sense with respect of what they're trying to push to us. and there are a lot of things that are indeed missing. Agreed that DM was supposedly partying the next night and laughing about the crime. Yeah, and do you know what I mean? This is what we saw in the Kylie Rodney case, isn't it? When we saw them all laughing and dancing about. There was that video, I'd done a short on it, which was, you know, her so-called friend dancing around and drinking. D Random, thank you very much for the super sticker, D Random. Any more questions? Any more questions? Really was a busy house. It was a busy house. But do you know what the funny thing is, Victoria? It weren't busy on that night. Weren't busy on that night. There were so many things that you think to yourself, that was really unlucky, wasn't it? It was... My thoughts and feelings are in this, is that when, in a way, that it was like someone was already in the house or someone was called to the house at the exact right time. How was it that this person, if we're saying it's Brian Koberger, how did Brian Koberger manage to think, oh, I know what time to leave, I'll leave at this time and drive to this house and just happen to walk in this house just as everybody's asleep? Because pretty much up to when this happened, there was people awake. So it was like the timing was perfect, was spot on. Not buying it. Like there was a bit in the PCA. Again, I'll touch on this tomorrow, but it's about the PCA. And if you read that PCA, they state that both Dylan and Bethany were awake, and they must have been awake because they say when they came in, got home, and they say when the victims in their room, that they came in around 2 o'clock and they are all in their room and asleep by 4 a.m. And that was both of them who said that. But then in the next breath it turns around and says Dylan Mortensen was woke up at 4 a.m. by a noise that she thought was Kaylee Gonsalves playing with the dog. And I'm thinking to myself, well, were you asleep or were you awake? Because a minute ago you was fucking awake because you was telling people what time they came in and what time that they'd gone into their room and gone to sleep. Now you're saying you was asleep because you was woke up at 4. Can't make this shit up. And then people wonder why people are questioning this case. And yeah, look, it's bizarre. Anyway, let's have a look and see if I missed any questions while I went on some sort of random rant. What we got in there? I'm gonna just skip ads. It keeps trying to put ads. If I haven't skipped all of the ads, I do apologise. I'm trying to catch them as it flicks up. It comes up and says insert an ad, and then it's got like a bar that scrolls. So I do try and skip them for you. So we're kind of in time. What's this one? Let's have a look. Why do you think such measures were taken ASAP to advance this narrative that DM and BF are poor little innocent victims? Nauseating. Again, this almost feels to me like the law enforcement used them as witnesses. They wanted to use them as witnesses. They needed to perhaps make it look like that they were there to protect them and that they would push out this picture of them to the public, and perhaps they got something in return, and that was that Dylan Mortensen would become a witness that would tie in a time frame that they needed to match with the white Hyundai Elantra. You know, that's ultimately the only thing that ties this crime. Yes, we've got this friggin' knife sheath, which is, you know, it could be what it is, and that is that it was just a fatal mistake, a lucky one, if you like, because, you know, ultimately, if it's him and it was the mistake he made that gets him caught, and they're going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt through other means that it was him, then good, he fucked up and got caught. Because the scary thing is if he hadn't have dropped that, he may not have been found. But let's not forget that in terms of the white Hyundai Elantra and tying all the little bows together, the two surviving housemates hold the key to that. They're tying it in. Evie Marie, what do we got? Why was BF afraid to come back if the right perp was already in jail for the fall unalives when the defence wanted her to talk? And again, what's interesting is, because that is a very, very valid question. She does seem scared. It is a bit strange why you wouldn't, especially if these are your friends who have lost their lives and you feel that you have information, evidence that could potentially assist in the hunt and acquisition of their justice. Then why would you not jump at the chance? And look, I haven't been there, so there could be other things. You may have other issues, mental health issues, ways that that's affected you that stop you from doing it. I get that, but I still struggle with that, to think that if these were your friends and they were killed and you could help justice, why would you not want to be part of it? But then I think to myself, Bryan Kohberger is also acting in a manner that he is saying that he doesn't want cameras in the courtroom. And it's almost like he is doing that to make people perhaps want to come forward who might not otherwise come forward with cameras being there. And that's because people who turn around and say Bryan Kohberger did this and he just wants to be seen and he's arrogant, he's a narcissist and all this. If that's the case, then why didn't he want cameras in there? He was pushing for no cameras in the courtroom. And that, to me, the only reason that he would do that is to well, it's not the only reason. I'm wrong there, because another way would be that he's aware that people are going to push certain things, and could people see stuff, put in a bad light, or see him doing something that's taken the wrong way, and that could hurt people's perception of him. But there is mention in the documentation, in the court documentation, that would seem to suggest that it's to do with people coming forward, to help people feel that they can come forward and they can talk. But why is the same thing that goes with that question? Why are they afraid to come back? Is why is nobody talking? I've said this in a couple of videos recently. Nobody is talking. Not one person's got anything to say. Nobody's coming forward from the university. Not one. Not anybody's coming forward and saying anything. And that, to me, is a strange one. What do we got? Any other questions that I've missed? Good point here, which said this: we don't even know what weapon was used. Can autopsy prove exact knife used? In my opinion, no. To be honest, dependent on the wound itself, potentially not. Potentially not. We're not going to go into graphic details, but if we use our brains, there is a way that you can make it very, very difficult to make it possible to say exactly what was used. They can to a degree, certainly. But if someone wanted to, they could certainly make that harder. What have we got? Contaminated crime scene. Massively contaminated crime scene. Jamie, I didn't see your question, or it get deleted. It may be the settings Harsh has that prevents certain keywords from posting. Yeah, there is. I do have some settings that block certain things. People don't talk when they're afraid of local government. Yeah, or the college, university. How is Mrs. Harsh feeling after her illness this week? Mrs. Harsh is feeling much better. She is feeling better. Hayden today has been a bit out of sorts. He's had a bit of a migraine. People who have been around the channel for a while know that he's quite a bad migraine sufferer, and he has had a bad one today. Vicky Jolly, apparently a witness saw a man wearing all black. Yes, yet it was also said that a witness saw a naked man. What do you make of that? Well, there's certain things that have been said that we don't know how accurate they are, but we've spoken early on about, right back at the start, and again, I apologise for repeating this, but I appreciate that not everyone's heard it. There was some photographers who were doing astrophotography in the area who had a group on Facebook, and it was them guys who had initiated the rumour reference someone running away from the property, potentially naked, at around 2 or 3 a.m. And there was a big thing that kicked off on that group, and it very quickly got removed. But I think that's where that stemmed from. That was where that rumor originally come from. Because they were from, I don't know whether they're from, I think they may have been from the Washington University, not from Idaho. And I think they are worried that they were going to get had for what are you actually filming. My May, do you think Brian would still be separating rubbish from the crime when he was arrested? Surely that's not significant. What do you think, Ash? I think that too much time had passed, certainly. And we also know that Brian Kohberger was someone who was a bit of a night owl, which he was, and multiple people have said this. We know, or we've been sort of, it's been suggested that he was a bit of a germaphobe, messed about a bit, and we know that his parents, where his parents live, the refuse has to be segregated. It has to be put into individual containers and separated. And it's I don't see that as that important. I don't see that as anything significant. Too much time had passed. Do you think he fits the profile? No, I don't. But again, it's difficult to say, does he fit the profile? Because it depends what you're trying to push. How you're trying to say, if someone says this was a crime of passion, does he fit the profile? No, I don't think he does at all. I don't see that in him. I genuinely don't. I don't think he's someone who has got fixated with Madison Mogan, for instance, and committed this crime in that. I don't see that, but I could be wrong. Do you think Brent Kohberger is involved? It's hand on heart. It would be very, very difficult for me to turn around and say I 100% feel that Brent Kohberger has no involvement in this whatsoever. And it's difficult because I appreciate that this is a guy who worked for the government. He'd offered many, many years of his life to do his job that was ultimately, and whether you want to argue what, military are right or wrong, these are the people who get put out into the field to do the work for governments. The government points where they go and they go and do it. And he suffered because of it. He was injured because of it, and he suffered. But let's not make no bones about it. Some of these guys, they can go through stuff, they can have issues, and they can become very, very violent. They can have issues, and the best of them that can happen to. Portrayed very well. I think the film was Brothers with Jake Gyllenhaal, and that is a true representation of things that can happen. I've seen that. I live in this military area. We're surrounded by these people, and it's turned good men into bad people. But yeah, do I feel that he is involved? I feel, especially reading what we read earlier and reading how law enforcement in the past have hidden perpetrators, physically hidden them. I feel that, can we really believe that Brent Kohberger and Brian Kohberger, both from Washington State University, around that campus, genuinely had nothing to do with each other, and both of them had gone into this descent into chaos, where one had basically gone and murdered 4 people, and the other one was threatening to do the same. You could almost say, well, if that's the case, then what the fuck was they putting in the water in Washington? What was going on there? Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. Did Kohberger say something akin to, I know who killed those students? Again, there has been rumour that when he was saying about killing roommates, that misrepresentation. Was he in fact saying that he knows who killed those roommates? But again, I can't confirm that. I know that rumour exists, but I don't know. Join me on the OJ show anytime we are doing a series on. It's crazy how many similarities they are on that case as well. I will have to join you, and I will do. I promise I will do. And the same with Andrew as well. I will jump onto his show. Why was the chip removed from Kaylee's car? Why have they still got Kaylee's phone? Did you know that they've still got her phone? Put a number 1 in chat if you knew that law enforcement still have Kaylee's phone. And put a number 2 if you didn't know. And I will read you this from the Gonsalves family. So a number 1 if you knew they still had her phone. Number 2 if you didn't know. I know some of you will. But yeah, law enforcement still have Kaylee Gonsalves' phone. There's a lot of ones. I would imagine that most of the people, there are some 2s in there. There's ones. A lot of people still know, but there's a few people. Yeah, there's a few people in there who didn't know. But yeah, law enforcement still have Kaylee Gonsalves' phone. And this is a post. I'll read it to you from the Gonsalves family, and it says, as many of you may or may not know, we have been desperately trying to get Kaylee's phone back from investigators. And this post, by the way, was a few days ago. Get Kaylee's phone back from investigators for many months. Every time we asked, we were told no. Well, a few days ago, we were notified that they are releasing a download of all of the pictures and videos on Kaylee's phone to our attorney. I have been struggling with this. It's like a love-hate relationship. I love that we will have pictures and videos of Kaylee that we have never seen before, but I hate everything else about it. My heart is aching. How could someone do this and why? I want Kaylee here. She should be here. They all should be here. I can't wait for justice for our babies. And, you know, I feel for that family. I truly do. But I also have to wonder why, you know, Kaylee was apparently, she didn't live there. She didn't live there. She'd come back purely to visit. There's a bit of confusion around that, and some people said, you know, she'd left and she'd moved away. Why was her stuff still there? Or that someone had said that she had another lesson or something to go back to, or work to do. I don't know. But why would her phone be held? What would be on her phone that would be relevant to the case, unless it's to do with the calls made to Jack? Maybe they're going to obviously prove that he was called. I don't know. But they're not giving the phone back. All they're doing is providing a forensic download of the phone and handing that to the to attorneys. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I don't know. Dylan, a member of what sorority? I don't know exactly which sorority she is a member of. Question. Mr. Clue wants to know what you think the judge's ruling would be on the IGG. Will they turn over the important information? I don't think he'll have any choice but to, Clue, in all honesty. I think he will have to. Just heard the police constable Peter Lawson has died at home in Lancashire, who was working on the Nicola Bully case. Just thought I'd let you know. That's mad. That is mad, Paul. Thank you very much for the super chat, by the way. But those of you who have been following the Nicola Bully case, yeah, I'll have a look into that, Paul. I'll have a look into that after the after this live. Thank you. But yeah, in terms of the IGG, I think he'll have to. I think he'll have to. I don't really know how he will be able to determine what needs to be turned over or not. And like Tony's just said here, the IGG info doesn't exist, and they cleverly did word that they would hand over what they had. And what do they have? They may have nothing. If you were a PhD student like him and innocent, why isn't he screaming he's innocent if he knows they have nothing on him? And this is a question that keeps coming up, and I'm going to answer this because it just wouldn't make no difference. Jenny Beetlejuice half stole Bill Thompson's hat. Yes, I did. Yeah, like people say, why isn't he screaming he's innocent? We don't know what he's doing. Obviously, we don't have webcam in his cell, so we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. He obviously has to behave in a certain way. He is doing what he I think he's doing it right. Obviously, the ball is rolling. He's going through the system. You can turn around and say, I didn't do it. But ultimately, if you don't have an alibi, then how many... Imagine how many people who are guilty as sin who scream, I didn't do it. This is a setup. I was set up. They planted evidence. Do you know what I mean? Everybody does that. The fact that he is not saying anything perhaps says more. Do you know what I mean? There's certain things that you've got to consider what he has supposedly said, and if there is an importance to that, such as when he said, was anybody else arrested, for instance. I think we don't know whether that is true and accurate that he said it, but that, to me, says a lot if he did, because it's almost like acceptance. Yes, I've been arrested. I almost knew that I was going to be arrested, but have you arrested anybody else? Because there's somebody else that you perhaps should have. But again, we don't know if he did. But in terms of why he's not screaming from the rooftops, because it wouldn't make no difference. It literally wouldn't make any difference whatsoever, because the majority of people will scream they're innocent. He hasn't got an alibi. We know he hasn't got an alibi. What he was potentially doing that night is potentially, if he's innocent, I'm just going to say, if he's innocent, it's what he was doing that night that has put him in the firing line. It's important for people to understand that. It's very important to understand that even if Brian is innocent, it is what he was doing that night that has put him in the crosshairs of law enforcement. Because he was driving around. He was alone, and he has no witnesses to corroborate that he wasn't where law enforcement are trying to say he was. Question, do you think BK could have witnessed the crime? I don't think so. I personally don't think he did, because I think that if he witnessed it, that could have potentially... He could say that he witnessed the crime. He could turn around and say, I witnessed it. Why wouldn't he say that? And Ann Taylor could have potentially come forward and said that. That he was there, he was doing something else, and he witnessed it. And Murky Piglet, right, and BK can't just sit in court acting like some crazy thug. He would be expelled from the court and held against it. Exactly. He is doing, if he is an innocent man, even though people will question it, what he is doing is the best thing that he can do for his case. Absolutely. It's frustrating, it's hard to even fathom, but it's the best thing. Why is the Kopak case still open if he allegedly died? It's one of them, innit? Why is Kylie Rodney's case still open? And it is still open because I recently spoke to them, and they said it's still open. It's not a closed case. That's why we can't get any information out of that. They've concluded it, but they haven't closed it, which is just a snidey way of saying... Yeah, we know if we close it, then we can have a Freedom of Information Act request on it. He doesn't have to plead not guilty, and the defence explained his game plan. Yeah, he doesn't have to plead not guilty. Again, he's doing the best thing. If he's an innocent guy, which he's entitled to the assumption of it, he's doing the best he can. How long was Kaylee staying in Idaho? I don't know. Apparently, she just come back that night. Let's have a look. I would never represent a client that could not keep their mouth shut. No, me neither. The first thing they're told, I would imagine from a legal, and A.R. Hayes will probably say the same thing. The first bit of advice that you're going to be given by your legal counsel is keep your fucking mouth shut. Don't say anything. Don't say anything, because the likelihood is anything you say, anything that you do, any reaction, any non-action will be held against you. In any chance they get to utilise anything against you, they will. So you best just keep your mouth shut, stare forward, act normal, and I'm here to do this job. I will do the best of my ability to get you out of this situation, but that's my job. Your job is just to sit there and shut the fuck up. Any more questions before we wind up? Because we have been on for over an hour now, an hour and 10 minutes. Time has flown. We've had Christmas music in the background. I've got my black Santa Claus hat on, and yeah, time flies, goes really quick. But behaviour of BK is consistent. Where are we? I saw that. Where is that? Behaviour of BK is consistent if he and Dad are trying to further control the naked guy for unalive. I don't know what that means. Behaviour of BK is consistent if he and Dad are trying to further control the naked guy or unalive NG. I think it just must be too late for me. Steve said she came back for a final on that Monday. Yeah, I know apparently she was due to, I said, like a lesson or something, wasn't it? Her final. BK is knowledgeable enough to know that everything will be held against him, absolutely. Final questions before we wrap up. My May, will you be covering the Anna Walsh case? If I can, then yeah, because obviously we've got the Majorge and Kayla case, which I think people are interested in. We've got this other Idaho case that's just cropped up as well, which people will be following. We've got the Daybell case that is coming back into the courtrooms as well. So I'd like to. It's just a case of you can't cover everything. But if we can, because I want to start doing, I've got enough equipment now to properly do the court live streams, which I'm going to start doing. I haven't done, but I'm going to start doing them as well if enough people want me to do them. Off topic, but hopefully Harsh sees this. There's a county in Michigan called Oakland County that seems to have a lot of police corruption, and a teen just drowned in White Lake, Michigan, in that county. I'll have a look at that. I'll have a look, MJ. But it happens, do you know what I mean? People might not want to admit to it. They might stick their head in the sand, and they feel that it's an attack on law enforcement. And look, law enforcement, there's some fantastic men and women who work that. So, you know, there genuinely is, and some of them are brilliant. But it's like with everything. Not everybody in these institutions are good people. And sadly, these places are always places that are susceptible for people to leverage them, to use them. And some bad people do bad things with a badge. That's as simple as that. And there you go. But I think that's about it. The black hat is more like Father Time instead of Santa. Father Time. MJ, where can we see that? Hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed this live stream. Harsh works hard for bringing this to truth. Thank you very much, Wolf. That is very, very kind of you. But we are now at the end. Thank you so much for joining me over on this live. I would carry on going and just carry on talking, but you've got much better things to do than listen to me ramble. We've gone through some stuff. It's been fantastic spending some time with you, and I'm going to be doing more lives as time progresses. I think I've got another live going to be out on Wednesday. I'm going to try and jump on with, like I say, CJ as well, and also the law officers of Andrew Myers. Going to be heading over there at some point as well. But thank you very much for those of you who joined us this evening. That is very, very kind of you. Thank you very much to all the mods. My May. Who else have we got still in here? My May, Evil CJ, Superior Dreams. We've obviously got the one and only Dope Soul, who is the king of the mods, queen of the mods. Tracy as well. Dixie is in there somewhere. The mods do a fantastic job. This is an absolutely fantastic community. And yeah, we don't always have to agree. Don't feel that you have to agree. I'd rather people, if they don't agree, don't say you agree. Don't pretend to agree because you think that's what I want. I want us to be more open-minded. I would rather be open-minded and wrong than closed-minded and wrong. You know, we know the world's a fucked up place, and it is. There's some horrible, horrible things that happen, and we must all be tired of it. You know what I mean? Tired of seeing it. It's a sad, sad world. But just being a little bit more open-minded, a little bit more kind to each other, and just willing to give people a benefit of the doubt and look at everything. Don't ignore stuff. Little bit at a time, maybe we can make it a little bit of a better place. Not so dark. But that's me. That's everything. Don't forget, y'all are my babies, and have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. And I'll catch you all in the next one.